Hello and welcome. I haven't changed the stream. Okay. There we are. Bug fixes and balance. That's the agenda for today. Right. So I've spent this week fixing a bunch of stuff, a bunch of bugs. I'm going to continue to do so now. I was hoping to get a patch out, but it's not quite there yet. So I'm going to continue to bug fix. Basically, I was trying to get as much fixing and balance in before I release the patch. I haven't got as much as I wanted to get done yet. I've got a load of comments from a day I spent playing Freeplay to deal with. So we're going to continue with that. I'm putting down for the moment the AI work that I was doing because I was working on enemy colonies in Freeplay, but for now we're gonna just focus on bug fixing. So there's a couple of things. Okay, so the tide rising in Freeplay. By tide rising, I meant the periodic flood in Freeplay. You may have noticed we've now got a little box here talking about other games we're publishing. And just to show you, if you want to get rid of it, you can just get rid of it. We're just drawing attention to other games we're publishing. Okay, so we're not having enemy colonies in this. Doesn't matter what it is. Really doesn't matter what map we're on. I'm here to check. I'm here to check this periodic flood. Oh, okay. So it's off by default. So I'm just checking that it actually stays on through save games. I think it does, but gonna check. I did a load of balance changes to towhead maps, so I'll show you. There's a more visible one, which is where there's actually routes across the middle now. I should probably take a new screenshot to be fair. Right, Half Nerd, good to have you with us. I did make it on Wednesday. Here I am. In all my glory. So, on my little list here, I have, when the game is loaded, does the periodic flood still work? I'm just checking that. I'm pretty sure it will. Today's Thursday, right? No, today's Wednesday, damn it. Yes, today's Wednesday, I've just checked. I think we're all losing track of the days at the minute, as the world's in lockdown. Make free play difficulty a basic option. So I wanted to bring the free play standard difficulty into the screen, which is a little bit more tricky.
The Queen has raised her first brood. These loyal subjects will lay the foundations of what could one day be a great subterranean empire.
Okay, so first of all, check that the periodic flood option is on. I should actually be able to check in the level blueprints actually. Ah, that's the menu lab level blueprints, of course. Okay, so stop. Freeplay. Towhead. Just got the notification. I've only just gone live, the Crazy Scientist, so don't worry, I haven't missed anything. So yeah, make Freeplay difficulty basic option. Minimap ping with Uber spawning doesn't seem to be working. I've wrote down. By the way, about that Uber bug, to prevent something similar in the future, have you considered having a static list with an instance of each different Uber signed into it? Using a random Uber from the existing Ubers. It might help. Yeah, well, the way Ubers the Ubers are currently handled the same way as any other creature. So there's so the Uber bug was it's because each Uber's handled differently and it has its own set of stats, but it doesn't need them. It's true, because they're all the same. Like each Uber's treated kind of the same as each other. So yeah, it might help. I mean, it wasn't hard to fix when I found the bug. It's just I can't push an update yet. Okay, so one of the balance changes is I've added these routes across the map. The reason being is I've added in some landmark points here. And I didn't want to add them in and make them only accessible from from these two nests. So there's routes across the map to those areas, so that area could be utilised a bit better. And I've added a few more points in as well. And shuffled a couple around. Like there's 3 here rather than 2. Anyway. Okay.
In this small corner of the world, the creatures continue their day-to-day lives, unaware that a new power is about to rise in the Undergrowth.
Okay, so Tide Rises is true there. Just double checking. Okay, still true. All good. I can take that one off. Not exactly a hard one. Okay, so make Freeplay difficulty a basic option. Okay, so basically here, basic Freeplay setup. Freeplay setup. Okay, so it's this, the play difficulty. Now, I was never happy with the name of this. Because we've got play difficulty, we've got start difficulty, and difficulty type. Now maybe difficulty types should be difficulty change. I don't know. I've essentially altered the way that difficulty works. So the play difficulty affects various aspects of play, including the rate of change, the starting time without attacks, wave sizes, and difficulty increases as you approach the victory condition. High difficulties add and increase the score multiplier. Difficulty modifier. It's hard to say what it is, really. I mean, more than anything, it affects the rate of change of difficulty. So, difficulty changes much quicker with that set to harder. So maybe difficulty modifier. I think I'd use play difficulty just as a temporary thing. I also think it's more important than this. I think this should be right up here. Because essentially this is how hard you're going to find the game. Well, this mixed with these. Oh, it's complicated. See, the difficulty is that percentage, but play difficulty affects how quickly that percentage changes. So maybe difficulty modifier? I'm tempted to put this just as difficulty and change this to difficulty change. Because I don't think people really... I mean, play difficulty doesn't really mean anything. Difficulty type isn't really an accurate description of what this is. I mean, really, what this is if you were drawing a graph of the difficulty, it would describe how that graph changes. Difficulty over time. Yeah, it might work. Yeah, that kind of fits with the explanation of it. Okay, difficulty over time works there. Although I'll have to see how that affects the space. Give me a second, I'm just logging any changes I've made here. So we're about to do a translation pass. Yeah, the text fields are set to do that because of translations. So everything's got to everything's got to be able to expand and contract. It was a bit of a job when we added in translations. Obviously, there's limits because if you have that text filling up half the screen, it's gonna cause problems. But okay, so we've got difficulty over time. Rather than play difficulty, I'm just gonna call that this difficulty. Um, this may look a bit weird at the minute. Okay. I think basically difficulty is too important to be down at the bottom. Plus, it didn't look right. Yeah. It does. It is a bit confusing. I think some people get a bit confused as well with the victory condition affecting difficulty because they don't. There's nothing to tell you that it does. I suppose I could add an option in for that. Yeah, I could add an option in that was increased difficulty. When approaching victory, and just have it as a tick box that's on automatically. That would at least remove the ambiguity of the victory stuff. But yes, start difficulty is a bit. confusing, I guess. Yeah, that's the thing. We are running out of space for options. I like that there's a lot of options in Freeplay, and my solution, I think it should work, but the problem is I haven't created. I need to create a default set of game setups for Freeplay. So basically, people who don't want to think about it can just pick a pre-setup and just play and have some fun. Because you shouldn't need to wade through a million options in order to play a game. But if you want to adapt a game to a certain set of rules, then the options are there. But I think it does need initial setups. Right. What is an option? What happens if I knock this text size down by 2? 24, 22. I think we've created space for another option here. Don't you? Have I selected multiple things? This is probably the simplest way to do it. Yeah. I see map, creature, difficulty, and victory options. Oh. That was a big sentence. Just push the whole thing across. we want to see map creature difficulty and victory options. Yeah. The issue is every time I create a pop-up panel, it's an extra level of things that can go wrong. Because you've got to pass data between the new pop-up panel and back down the widgets. I don't think it's time to do that yet. I think the time for that is coming very soon. It's probably with the Fire Ant update. So basically, when the Fire Ant update comes along, there's going to be more options needed to go in for creatures. And at that point, I'll probably do another pass of Freeplay, working out what other improvements we can make. And at that point, yeah, we're probably talking multiple different options, option panels. In fact, what you could do is you could have a tabbed system. So you could have some basic options at the top here, and then use this whole right panel as like tabs for a set of options here. So you, creature options, switches that to the creature options, etc., etc. We're over the top of the warning messages, so we don't want to do that. I don't know if I'll even save any more space if I knock it down by another point. Probably won't. Right. Yeah. Actually, that has worked. Okay, so what have we changed? We've added in this increased difficulty near victory. I've renamed that, but that shouldn't make any difference to anything. don't know. What do you think? That's where I want it. Oh boy. Whilst I'm here, I'm going to disable this. In fact, it probably shouldn't even be visible. Okay. Right. So I've got a few things I need to deal with now. The stream can't go on past 3 today, by the way. So the very longest it's going to be is another 45 minutes. Oh, sorry, I'm coming back. Can't the widgets be added to the panel from the setup menu itself? Where the button actions bound to them would not be pressed. For the panel itself. Oh, you can make it work however you want it to work. It depends on how it's been set up. And to be honest, the Freeplay setup menus have been built on top of each other, so it's like one was built and then I decided it was too complicated, so I hid it behind an advanced game setup button and created this other menu and just passed all the data through when you click the button. It's definitely not the most sensible approach. I mean, what I should probably have done, and what I probably will do, is when I'm talking about this tab setup, what I'll probably do is remove the advanced setup entirely. Instead of that, just have the basic setup have the tabs here that you can go through and just make it all part of one big menu, rather than where things are hidden rather than added and removed. But that's not for this session. That's a whole other job, and I'm not going down that road yet. We'll get there. We will get there. But probably not until the next iteration of Freeplay. Okay. So, and now Towhead's been updated. I need a new screenshot of the map. Okay. So I did difficult. There's difficulty. Okay, so this difficulty then, I need to look at the places where we bring up the advanced menu and when we close the advanced menu. So it's a string actually. This is it passing stuff through. Maybe it's text actually. Yeah, it probably is text. Yeah, it is text. Okay. So that's it setting the option. Now when you press accept, so there's some other things I need to think about as well, which is the string and the saving. Yeah. Um, okay, so that's passing it backwards and forwards. So the other thing is the string stuff. Now, I'm actually worried that I might not have included this in the string stuff because the play difficulty was added after. There's also a consideration here in that if I add anything to this string, it needs to be able to deal with the old strings so people's setups don't break. Yeah. Oh. Okay. I'm going to deal with that all in one go because I've got another option to add to this all now. What am I doing? We'll deal with all that in one go. So the other option is this. Now this one is going to involve us creating a new This one's going to involve us creating a new option in Freeplay, and yeah, a new game option in Freeplay. So we might need to go to the Freeplay setup. One second. Not sure where the Freeplay setup is saved. I think I actually need to change this much. I don't think when you click on it anything needs to happen. But when you hit accept, let's set up. Okay, so there's a Freeplay setup here. This is where it's all been taken from. Don't know where that is. Oh, by the way, today I found a new place for Formica, a new pace for Formica Mission 2.2. Finished it with over 190 soldier ants. Really close on food, though. Going 2-2. Day 2 waves 3 and 4 are brutal. That's a massive amount of ants. Well done. You can only do that in the former carrier missions, really. I'm not sure how much. No, soldiers are worth about half population, aren't they? Well, depends which soldier, because majors are worth quite a bit more than that. Okay, so it's in EOTU game types is what I'm looking for, which I think is in game types. Yeah, there. Okay. Yeah, cool. Right, so I need to add something in here. So I just add it towards the bottom. Oh no, it should be near the victory conditions, right? There are victory threshold. Okay, I need to check this out with source control. 1 second. Easier game type. Okay. Okay, so that's all right. No, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm basically just adding that into this list here. But in order to get it to work properly, I'm going to need to shut the engine down and restart it anyway. Okay. Whilst the engine's shut, I'm going to do some stuff in Visual Studio. So, because there's some stuff I need to do with this string thing. Which I think is in EOT. I think it's just a utility function. Don't know why I'm looking for string. Okay, here we are. Right. This is it forming the string for save Freeplay setups. This is it putting the string back. Okay, so what we've got here so my guess is that play difficulty is never dealt with. I can't see anything that says play difficulty here, but yeah, it's not dealt with yet. Okay, so currently the string setup doesn't deal with play difficulty anyway. We need to change that, but we also need to take into account people who already have setups. So what we've got here is Freeplay setups a string. So this forms the string. So this one's less to worry about. I don't want to edit in the middle of the string. I want to add the new options onto the end. So how do I deal with things like Freeplay difficulty? We also need to deal with this. So we're adding two options onto it. So basically it's either got 53, which means it's an old setup. Oh, I need to check this out, sorry. I'm not sure I want to put more. I'm sure I want to alter anything on 2.2. It is possible on Insane, right? It's not overly impossible on Insane. I don't want to spend too much time dwelling on old missions at the minute. Maybe we'll do a balanced pass of those sort of things at some point. But if I keep going back to old missions, we're not actually gonna be able to get any new content out. Oh, I know. Check on the length of it. It's greater than 53. Yeah. Okay, so that's a reasonable check, I think. What's this going to be? It's a bool, isn't it? It's but victory difficulty. Just need it. It's just a bool. Hang on. I think I might have made a mistake here. Okay, so num is always going to be one higher than the number in the cells, assuming we've got a 0. Yeah, we do have a 0. So that num result will produce a value 1 higher. So yeah, it's got to be higher than 54. That's right. So if num is 55 in that case, then we pass 54. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so that should be okay. The trickier bit is going to be the putting it into a string. No, it should be all right actually. Should be all right. Okay, so let's take a look how it does. There, that's how it does it. Difficulty type. So that's what that should be. Okay, so that will produce the extra fields on the string. This will turn those extra fields into values. However, I need to put else's in here. Basically, we need the else just needs to be a default. Same here. Okay. What was I doing here? Yeah. Okay, so that should be everything I need to do here. We'll have to test that out. But anyway, coming back to chat. .2 is still quite a bit harder than 2.1. Was that intended? Then it's perfect. It was originally intended because it was originally the final mission essentially. So we were kind of happy with it being a bit harder. Although I'm not sure if that's relevant anymore because it's no longer the final mission. I think generally though you'll find that the apart actually from 1.2 is definitely easier than 1.1 once you know what you're doing. But generally you'll find of the two missions that come out on each tier, the second one's the harder one. Because the player should have experience with the new colony by that point. Heck yeah, C++, my favourite things to watch on stream. If I were to give the setup from string a string with options, but with some missing, would it accept it? It would do its best. It should be fairly robust. I mean, here it's basically trying to convert a string into a Boolean. So that's fairly robust because I think anything other than 1's pretty much going to return 0. So you can put in some weird stuff in there and it will end up getting passed as something, just not what you intended necessarily. Well, however, these are a bit trickier because these go to bytes. So what you might find is that might throw an error. I'm not. Yeah. I've only added one check on it, which is the check that makes sure it's the right size, which is here. However, I believe the parsing should return something. I mean, what happens when you try and... I mean, this is a C++ cast. What happens when you try and cast something that isn't right? It doesn't work. Does it crash? Give it a go. I mean, I think basically if a cast doesn't work, I mean, we're casting to any pointers. We're casting to types. So if a cast didn't work in a bool, it would be false. If a cast didn't work in a byte array, I'm not sure what the result would be. Yeah, byte. think it returns 0. I think what's happening here is as it gets cast to an integer here, I think that would default to 0, and then each species would just be whatever was 0. So I think it'd be alright. Don't remember before or after evaluation. Setting ID value, setting ID value. I believe the well, we don't actually. It's not like the string that gets put together is literally just value, 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 value. It's no ID. There's no IDs in it. It's not like a key value pair. It's just values. Anyway, we're gonna run out of time. Oh, to protect against missing values. Like I say, I'm pretty sure they just go to default. I will check, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they just go to default. Right, I think I'm gonna have to end the stream here because I don't think I'm gonna have time to even run it when it's done. So yeah, thanks for joining. I'm gonna be back on Friday for our usual stream time. Well, hopefully. We'll see what. Yeah, we'll see what we're doing then. I'm not entirely sure yet. It'll depend on how far we've got with all these. I've got a couple of pages of things I want to change, including stuff on the spider level. So we'll see how we do. We might still be implementing these changes. So yeah, thanks for stopping by and joining me. And I will see you all next time. See you on Friday.